The coffee is so delicious in the Are You Serious Jesus Saves Coffee Cups. How are you this morning? You guys doing okay this morning? I know. The weekend, I had to take a little break, be honest with you. But I'm back and I'm loaded for bear because the news and the Bible prophecies, and there's something happening right now, people. Do you realize that the top military man of America is sitting down with the top military man of China, and they're jousting? But what's that mean to you and me? Let's read right now. Let's go to Associated Press. Let's go Associated Press. I want to read this article to you real fast because it's critical information and you have to understand. China says the United States is spending too much money on its military. Since when does China care about us and our spending on the military? What's their motivation? Let's read the article. So the Associated Press says that the United States is spending too much on its military in light of its recent economic troubles. China's top general said Monday while playing down his country's own military capabilities. The chief of the General Staff of the People's Liberation Army, and right there, why would China call themselves the People's Liberation Army? There's nothing free about China. There's no freedom of speech. There's no freedom of religion. There's no freedom of expression. There's no freedom of assembly. They put 11 pastors in jail because it was rumored they were going to have a home service on Easter. They arrested 100 people, Christians, Chinese Christians, because they were praying in public. These guys are look, this is horrible. The chief of the General Staff of the People's Liberation Army, Chen Bingdi, he told reporters that he thought the United States should cut back on their defense spending for the sake of its taxpayers. He was speaking during a joint news conference in which he traded barbs with the visiting U.S. counterpart, Admiral Mike Mullen. I know the United States is still recovering from its financial crisis, said Chen. Under such circumstances, it is still spending a lot of money on its military. Isn't that placing too much pressure on the taxpayers? Since when does Chen from China care about the taxpayers of America? Since when does Chen of China, the Chai comes in communist machine, what does he care about you and me and our taxes? He don't care about our taxes. He cares about taking over America. China is on a pursuit. China is breathing down our neck. China can smell blood. China is the one that you have to consider and concern yourself with going forward in this new world order. I'm telling you, people. Go way back in the archives from last year, about this time last year. I did a video on my vision of 1994. Paul Begley's vision, 1994, in which God showed me in a dream that China would acquire power over America. That Chinese soldiers would be walking around and parading around and in control of the United States of America. And that Christians would be rounded up. And we would be put in buses and taken to camps. Encampments is what my dream was called them. Fenced like prisons. I had no idea in 1994 that FEMA was in the process of building 800 prison camps. I had no idea. I didn't see how in the world China could ever take over America. And then, how did the radical Islam play into that dream? I didn't even know of such a thing as radical Islam in 1994. Folks, this dream came to me. I've shared it right here on YouTube, and you can go back in the archives and watch it. Paul Begley's Vision, 1994. I think it's critically important that you watch that. It has to do with the mark of the beast, the rise of the beast, 666. It's very important, because it's coming to pass right before our very eyes. Well, I'll finish the article. It says here that if the U.S. could reduce its military, Chen said, spending a bit and spend more on improving the livelihood of its American people, wouldn't that be a better scenario? Well, let me ask you something, Mr. Chen of China. Since when do you care about the livelihood of America? And if you're so concerned about the livelihood of America, then why do you have your people if they get pregnant a second time, is forced abortions. Why is it there's not one church open in China? How come your people live in squalor and slums and are oppressed and are put into sweatshop factories? And look, you guys are nothing but a bunch of hypocrites, and you know it. You could care less about the American people. It's all about trying to convince America that it needs to back down on its military. And here's what I recommend. We need to beef it up. We need to point more towards you. We need to stand stronger. We need to defend our nation. And we could care less what you think about it. Now, I understand that we need to sit down, and as the old saying is, you need to hold your friends close and your enemies closer. But don't be telling us what to do. Don't even be talking to me about what my livelihood is. Not from communist China. Not as long as you've got Christian, my brothers and sisters in Christ, locked away and put to death for their faith. I'm Paul Begley. Oh, I know you didn't want me to start this way on a Monday morning, but you know what? It's Monday. It's time. And look, this week I'm actually going to be in Louisville, Kentucky on Thursday and Friday at the Perry Stone Bible Prophecy Conference that he's going to be holding down there in Louisville, Kentucky. But I will be on YouTube still doing my videos, and so you won't miss a beat. But I'll have some fresh insight since I spent a couple days down there with Perry Stone and all of the friends down there at the conference. All right, I gotta let you go. It's gonna be a powerful week. Don't run away. Stay with me today. I've got a ton of important stuff. What about these mass graves in Iraq? What's going on with this gonorrhea thing? I'll be right back. It's crazy. It's gonna be a wild day.